Hello viewers and welcome back to the channel. EDDBUD here, and today I aim to give you a comparative review between a shoe that I purchased very recently on request of the viewers, the New Balance Fuel Cell Rebel, against the Nike Zoom Fly series. Go on. Psst. Go on. Been invaded by cats. So I continue to plough some miles into the New Balance Fuel Cell Rebel. Another 7 miles was on the cards at around about 7 minutes 30 per mile. I came in a little under that actually, it was about 7 minutes 21. Certainly the Fuel Cell Rebel, nice and light. It certainly feels very nimble on foot. I've been using the iSmooth Run app on my phone and also on my Apple Watch, and it does seem a little bit more pernickety about GPS. That side, it's a very configurable app. I've been able to get all of the data out of it that I want to, and very easy to use. So very impressed thus far, and at quite a cheap price as well, for only £5 to purchase it via the App Store. So very impressed with that. I'll give you an update on that app in a few weeks' time. So this shoe continues to impress me in terms of its versatility. It handles pace well. It's shown in terms of that 3x2 kilometre interval session that I did a little earlier in the week. I know a lot of you follow me on Strava. Please, if you don't already, head over there and follow me on Strava. You can monitor my training progress on there. It'd be fantastic to have you. Kind of feels like I'm inviting everybody over for a cup of tea or something. That side, I found that this shoe can also accommodate those steady miles relatively easily. It's certainly kind of filling that role of a higher tempo training shoe. Good for intervals, good for those steady paces at higher tempos. And it kind of still works around about 8 minutes per mile for me anyhow. That side, shoes work for some people, they don't work for other people. I always have to bear that in mind. I think I will comment on recovery at this point actually with this shoe. I did wake up today after a pretty heavy session, and the day before that there was quite a heavy session too, and my legs felt fine, they felt really good. Perhaps not quite as good as they have done when I've utilised shoes with the Zoom X foam. Certainly the Pegasus Turbo 2 and the Vaporfly 4%, but they still felt pretty good, and I think that's down to the foam in the midsole of the shoe. You know, the legs really have taken a bit of a beating over the last few weeks. Lots of really hard training sessions and hard speed work, but these shoes seem to work out pretty well for that. I think one big plus point of this shoe is the weight, or the lack of it. This shoe's been on a strict diet of organic alfalfa, no carbs, a real vegan friendly diet. It's round about 218 grams in a UK size 11 and feels really light and nimble on foot. I did comment to one of the viewers that I actually thought that the box was empty on delivery. Perhaps that's why the delivery was free, but it certainly is a light shoe. There's only a small elastic section around the forefoot area of the shoe with a sock-like liner going through the front of toe box, and it kind of ends just round about here where the stitch section of the upper ends. The rest of the upper is really comprised of this kind of knit material, which is pretty light. Little bit of extra padding in the heel counter, but it's a very minimal shoe. 7.7 ounces is quite light really for a daily trainer, though it does lack a little bit of that support and structure. So if those are high on your list, then this may not be the shoe for you. There's lots more supportive and structured kind of shoes for daily use out there. In comparison to the Zoom Fly Flyknit or the Zoom Fly 3, there are some similarities, but weight certainly isn't one of them. The Zoom Fly 3 here in a UK size 11 is close to 300 grams, so that's about 10.5 ounces, and certainly feels a lot heavier in hand. I found the upper on the Zoom Fly 3 really quite substantial, and I really sort of wished for a more sort of minimal approach, as found in the Flyknit version of the shoe. There are 3 layers of material surrounding parts of your foot in the Zoom Fly 3, and that kind of maximal approach just really didn't work for me. A number of viewers with smaller feet did comment that they really didn't find the shoe to be that heavy. I think as the sizes go up and the materials required to create the shoe increase, that weight starts to rise substantially. Being quite a slight gentleman who's very tall with relatively large feet, I really did find these to be quite heavy. Certainly not a racing shoe for me, this one. Yes, you have the full length carbon fibre plate in this shoe, but it really did feel quite dead to me. I feel that the Zoom Fly 3 is a bit of a step back from the previous version really, the Zoom Fly Flyknit. This is about 290 grams, which is about 10.2 ounces. This felt far more propulsive to me. It had a much less pronounced and present upper. I wore this shoe for some races towards the end of 2018 to good success. You've got a 10mm drop on the Zoomfly Flyknit as opposed to the 8mm drop found on the Zoomfly 3. The React does feel different in this shoe. I don't know what it is. It just certainly feels a little bit softer. Just getting the other one in hand, this feels denser. It just doesn't have the same properties, and maybe they've changed the formula in some way. It certainly feels different. You know, the more and more I kind of manipulate it in there in hand, it does feel different. I really do like the Flyknit upper. It does feel a little bit more coarse than the Flyknit that's on the Vaporfly 4%. Again, I don't know if that's a slight change in the material, maybe in the weave or something, but it certainly feels a little bit coarser. Great shoe. So I think on paper, the closest comparison really between the Rebel and the Zoomfly series is the Zoomfly Flyknit. You could certainly use this shoe for higher pace tempo runs without a problem, but I think it also works as a daily type trainer, as you've got that slightly lower drop of 6mm. There's a less aggressive use of the carbon fibre plate, and I think that makes for a much more versatile and usable shoe. The increased outsole width here, whilst being aesthetically a bit odd, does create a wider landing area. And the shoe even felt good at paces of 8 minutes per mile down to about 8:30 minutes per mile. I don't think the shoe has the required strength and solidity within its upper for very long distance work. It's very flexible and that upper's very thin, and I think I'd probably hesitate to use it upwards of half marathon distance. I do see it more as a daily training shoe rather than a long distance shoe. The Zoomfly Flyknit and the Zoomfly 3 do have more solidity and strength and support in their upper, and I think they probably make a slightly better up-tempo half marathon shoe. Hey, we got to talk price on this one. Certainly with some really great deals for the Zoomfly Flyknit at the moment. It does make it a comparable alternative to the New Balance Fuel Cell Rebel. I've seen these, not in this colourway, but certainly the Flyknit version for sale between £65 up to about £95. I think that's a really great deal. If you're able to get hold of one of those, this is a super shoe. Nike seems to be selling off the last of these now. Certainly they're on offer. They don't seem to be restocking it, so I think it is on the way out now. I managed to pick this one up for around about £80 on DW Sports website. They had a good deal on it, plus a coupon as well to get it even cheaper. I think £80 for this shoe is a real bargain. One area that I cannot comment on yet is durability. React in the Zoomfly Flyknit is exceptionally durable. I've had this shoe over 250 miles. There's still some good life left in it yet. At present, little degradation here, but I've only knocked about 20 miles into them. When I get to 100, that'll be a more true test. The lug design on the New Balance Fuel Cell Rebel is data-driven, apparently. What the hell does that mean? Data-driven. Data-driven lugs. Who knows? I'd love to know what that means. Data-driven. What sort of data? Analog-driven lugs. What would that be like? I found the outsole foam here is quickly becoming tarnished. Rocks, debris, berries and all sorts of stuff there. It's starting to take a pounding already. It's very soft, I have to say. It is very soft foam. So I think it's going to degrade pretty quick. So far, the exposed parts of the outsole not holding up anywhere near as well as React. Just a comment and an observation, the foam in the Fuel Cell Rebel does feel a little bit more like the foam found on the Vaporfly 4% and the Pegasus Turbo 2, that Zoom X foam. I'm not saying it's got the same energy return properties, but it does have that same sort of springiness and that kind of return feeling. It's certainly very light as well. Not as cushioned, not quite as bouncy, but it does have that spring. A viewer of the channel, K Burma, commented that the Fuel Cell Rebel, I think he may have the Propel, I think, I may be wrong, midsole does seem to really open up after you put a few miles into the shoe. I can certainly concur with that. That's exactly the feeling I've had with it. It really does start to open up, becomes a little bit more responsive, a little bit more cushioned perhaps. It's just got a little bit more give to it. And certainly I found that in the upper as well, where the shoe felt a little bit tight to begin with. It's starting to open up now. So comparisons and views are ongoing on this shoe. I don't think there's any real comparison between this and the Zoomfly 3. It's just so much lighter, feels so much more pleasant to run in actually, so much more comfortable to run in, and I still managed to achieve some good paces in the Fuel Cell Rebel. But I think if you're able to pick up the Zoomfly Flyknit, I think this shoe certainly gives the Fuel Cell Rebel a run for its money. Sorry, that was terrible. Great shoes though, if you can get these, some real bargains to be had. On a side note, Mildred the cat does seem to really prefer the New Balance Fuel Cell box to sleep and rest upon. The cardboard construction of the box and the red colourway do seem to be preferable to her over the Nike and Hoka boxes. Please comment below if you're looking to purchase one of the New Balance Fuel Cell line of training shoes. Or perhaps you've already bought some and you've been clocking up some miles. Please give me your opinions and your views in the comments section. Perhaps you've got one of the other shoes, the Zoomfly 3 or the Zoomfly Flyknit. Please clock in below in the comments with your views and opinions. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't done already and give the video a thumbs up. Please share the video with other runners so we can continue building this fantastic community that we have here. We've just gone over the 900 subscribers barrier. I'm absolutely amazed and I'm really appreciative of every single one of you. Thanks for watching right through to the end. My name's EDDBUD and I'll be seeing you.